Hi guys! I am officially out of hiatus and I am officially a married lady. I took time off of this channel to prep for my wedding, have my wedding, and then just take time to have things simmer down a little bit. And now I am back, and most of the reason I am back is because of this show. I am obsessed with this show. But before I even get into that, I want to thank anybody who's even watching, anybody who is remotely interested in me anymore. I do these sort of long breaks all the time. I guess I was kind enough to announce this one this time, but you guys are super awesome for even remotely caring. You are the most patient people ever. I am so grateful, you have no idea, and thank you guys so much. I want to stress something before we get going. First of all, I've never watched a single Produce 101 episode. I never even watched a survival program, as they call them, the shows like 16 and Mix and Match and The Unit, ones where they pick a group of people and then they become a group. Like I've never watched anything like that. So I'm going into not only the Produce series, but just the entirety of survival reality television, totally blank slate. I don't know anything. So if there's something you think I should know that I don't mention or I don't seem to understand, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I don't really know anything. I'm also not going to be recapping who's in what ranking unless it's important to the show. That's 96 people I'd have to recap rankings for, and there's already a bunch of good websites and Twitter accounts that do that. I've linked a couple of those in the description below if you're ever interested in what the newest rankings are. I will also link a subtitled version of this show because it's a global show, but it's only available in Korea and to vote for if you're in Korea. So subs are kind of necessary here. I'd also recommend checking out the Produce 48 subreddit on Reddit. They do an awesome job updating pretty much as soon as there's translations. Translations come out in like a day and a half after the episode airs, and considering there's 2 languages to translate, that's pretty amazing. Okay, whew, I've never done this before, so let's dive in to Produce 48. I went into this because I have a mutual love of K-pop and J-pop, and I really wanted to see how this was going to be handled. I'd be lying if I also didn't say that I wasn't a little bit curious about the drama that would obviously ensue. This show is kind of like a home run to me. It has everything that I love in pop culture. Little did I know, though, that the drama would be starting before the show actually happened. This started with accusations of imperialism on the AKB side, which were in general unfounded, and if there were instances of imperialism, like using the rising sun flag or something like that on a jacket or whatever, it was done with AKB48 members who weren't even on the show, so it didn't quite matter at the end of the day. And then there's the voting. So the initial plan for the show was that it was going to be one group with 6 Korean girls and 6 Japanese girls, and they'd be promoting between the 2 countries. And the voting would also happen between the 2 countries. Then they changed it to 12 members, but there was not going to be one set amount for Korean girls and one set amount for Japanese girls. No, they were going to just let it be, hey, whoever. So it could really be like 11 Korean girls and 1 Japanese girl, because they decided to forego the set amount of members. I'm not really sure what the thought process was. Then they changed the voting to have it only be Koreans who could vote, because they felt like because AKB48 members are already so established in Japan, they would have an unfair advantage. Why was that not thought of sooner? How is this a global show? I don't really get it. As far as there being popular members, it could be easily tipped in their favor, and we could have just gotten a group of all AKB members and Kayun. But, I don't know, restricting the voting just seems really weird, because they're going to be promoting in both countries, and there's going to be girls from Japan, so why not let the people of their country vote? It's a mess. It's already a mess. So my prediction, with all of this being said, is that there will be 9 Korean girls and 3 Japanese girls in the final group. We're going to play the lottery here. Let's see if I win. This episode is brought to you by Little Mix, because their songs were used 3 times in the auditions. Oh, and spoilers, obviously. The episode starts with all of the girls coming together to write what training means to them on the wall. Just a big wall. And some people said it was kind of cheesy, but I actually found it kind of endearing. In this case, it's 2 different countries, trainees, coming together for one common goal. I found it kind of symbolic in that way and really nice to see. So then we're finally introduced to the trainees, and we see them enter and marvel at there being 96 chairs instead of the usual 101, the center chair, which looks actually really, really comfortable, and just the grand stage of it all. And we see them painstakingly try to decide what chair they're going to sit in. And then more come in, and they also decide painstakingly what chair they're going to sit in. And then more. And then more. And then more. It's a half hour of girls trying to figure out where they're going to sit. And you know what? It's not even based on ranking. It's so arbitrary that it really doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter where they sit, because there's a fair chance that where they're sitting now is not going to be where they continue sitting. That being said, props to Park So-young, who was the former YG trainee, for taking that #1 seat. She didn't really have a choice, and she was the last one who entered the room. I probably would have done what one of the girls had said and sat on the floor instead of taking that #1 seat. Even as an ex-YG trainee, she went up with like the YG kind of swag. It was really impressive to see a girl sit the chair. Good job, Mnet. You got me. You got me. So then the 2 centers of the past 2 seasons, Somi and Kang Daniel, come out, and everybody freaking loses their minds. I don't blame them. They're so pretty. Everybody's so pretty. Can't I be that pretty? The show makes you really hate yourself. They come out and they announce that in like past seasons with 11 members, there will be 12 members in this group, which means since there's less trainees and now more seats by 1, there's a greater chance of you to get into the final group. Tensions are rising. It was also announced that the winning group will have a promotional period of just over 2 years, and that they will be working with the 48 director Akimoto Yasushi and Pledis CEO Han Sung-soon, who is the reason that Kayun didn't promote for 5 years and considers this show her last resort because Kayun's from Pledis. And yeah, yay! We are then introduced to our judges and host, the host this season being Lee Sung-gi, the rap trainer being Cheetah from Unpretty Rap Star, which she won, and rightly so, the dance trainers being Mei Jae Lee, Choi Young-jun, and Bae Yoon-jung, who is without a doubt the Simon Cowell of the show. I love and also equally fear her. And the vocal trainers are So-yu, ex-Sistar, and Hungi from one of my favorite K-rock groups, FT Island. I don't understand why they pick judges that don't know Japanese. Kayun from After School knows more Japanese than all of the judges combined except for Hungi, and he's seen as like this great savior for knowing Japanese. It's just such a weird choice. I don't understand why they only had one person who knew Japanese and basic Japanese. The auditions are now underway, and the Yuehwa girls are first. They were also the first ones to enter the building, so they get a lot of screen time. I'm not mad about it. They're really funny. I'm a sucker for a funny girl. They do a performance that automatically gets them top scores, and the room is shook. Everybody is like tense and they're like, ooh, shoot, this is a really strong way to start off. I hope I do well. And then we get some unnecessary rivalry with WM and Woollim Entertainment trainees. I don't know if there's actually a rivalry. I don't know if they were like just hyping this up or anything. I've never heard of those 2 companies being rivals, but whatever, more power to you. The Woollim trainees do a really clever mix of Lovely's Achu and Infinite's Bad to showcase both their cute and fierce sides, and not only do they represent themselves well, but they represent their company well, since Lovely and Infinite are both from Woollim. I haven't caught quite on to the hype that is Kwon Young-bi yet. Just hearing her say, I deserve an A because I'm the oldest, like a million times over, got a little bit on my nerves. She is talented, but I want more than just I deserve because I'm the oldest. Show me you deserve it because you have the skills, not just because you're the oldest out of the 4. Then we have WM, and surprise, surprise, there's a trainee on there who was not only in one K-pop survival show, but two. That one also being 16, the show that helped put the Twice members together in JYP Entertainment. Her name is Chaeyeon, and she seems really just happy to be there. The audition from the WM trainees is good, but Chaeyeon clearly is the ace of the team. She does a freestyle dance, kills it, and her little tappy toes at the end of the freestyle were the cutest things ever. Since her 16 days, she has improved greatly, and it shows here. Then there are the cringy performances. Now, people will say, like, on shows like American Idol, oh, it's so mean that they showcase them in such a negative light and that they make fun of them like that. But the cringy performances are a guilty pleasure for everybody, myself included. Plus, it makes a really good underdog story. So, like, if the performances sucked, then there's totally room for improvement, and you can see how drastically people improved, especially in a show like this. The two girls up first in the cringe montage are Kan Hye-won from 8D Creative, who does IU's You and I poorly, and Kim Min-ju from Urban Works, who does a song by Boa and dances with the strength of a baby penguin, so needless to say, they don't score well. However, they do get marks as being the perfect group role of purity. Also, these girls look so terrified just to be there, but they're also performing in front of the merciless Bae Yoon-jung, so I kind of understand why. The same goes for Shin Soo-hyun from Fave Entertainment, who does Blackpink and flaps her arms like a chicken, not really sure why. And the trainee from Cube that immediately got people's attention when she walked into the room, because Cube is one of the bigger names in the audition process as far as companies go, but when she chooses bravely to do Hyuna's Red, it doesn't go very well because she seems very not sure about what she's doing. You have to kind of keep in mind girls' ages in this too, because she's only 16, but also if you're gonna pick a Hyuna song, you gotta put oomph into it, and I gotta say, she was probably my most disappointing audition in this episode. Then we get the AKB girls. Now, this whole time, they're all sitting off on the wings, watching these performances, just being completely marveled, saying that it's like watching a music show, like that they're all the Korean trainees are like already super professional. And I'm a girl who loves self-deprecation. AKB does not fail in being the most self-deprecating group of girls I've ever seen. After the UEHA performance, the first performance, they literally all look at each other and they're like, we should just go back to Japan. I want to be born in a different life and be better. Why are we here? We're all gonna get Fs. Let's all make sure we get Fs, guys. Let's have that be our goal. It's hilarious to watch, but also you have to kind of like worry and brace yourself, like, how bad could it be? It's actually pretty established, mainly by Hunky, because again, he's the only person who knows anything about Japan in the judges panel for some reason. It's pretty well established that, as far as at least AKB goes, their training styles are very different from Korean trainees. Korean trainees, the ones that are there for 2 years, have stuff down like that. The ones like AKB that have been in their group for 2 years kind of teach themselves. They only are really meant to be cute entertainers and keep up a lively performance. It's all about the performance aspect for them. Whereas with Korean trainees, it's all about kind of knocking everything out of the park. You're a good singer or a good rapper, you're a good dancer, like you can sing and dance at the same time, you are pretty, like it's a whole kind of manufactured all-encompassing things. It makes the AKB girls actually seem a lot more real because they do have flaws that you don't get to see a whole lot with Korean pop idols. But I do want to stress that this is not how all J-pop training goes, as in there is none. There are J-pop groups, boys and girls, who are trained in some capacity. It's not just you're picked from a lineup and then you get pushed on stage, maybe like how AKB goes. That is not the case with every J-pop group. And I hate that that's kind of being the perception that is shown mostly to the Korean public, is that there is no training for any J-pop idol. I like that they try to bridge the cultural gap for the viewer, but it's only doing a disservice to every other J-pop group that does get training. So that's kind of a bummer.